What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Reel Rendezvous podcast with Brett and Hunter. Brett, what's going on, my man?
Hello. Not a lot.
Not a lot.
I've been hanging out. I'm starting a new job soon
Hell yeah.
at Arby's.
Arby's.
Yeah, we have the meats. They sell burgers now.
Really?
Well, okay, they sell one burger now, but it's and you can order it. Like it kind of caught me off guard because I went through today, not for work reasons. I just wanted Arby's.
Arby's slaps.
And I love Arby's. And I saw it on the, not sponsored. And I saw up on the thing that they had a burger. It's called a Wagyu burger, which I guess is a type of burger.
It's like a type of beef.
Because coincidentally, Dad had bought a pack of Wagyu burgers for dinner the other day from Sam's Club.
Dang, Mike throwing out the big dough for the burgers.
They were pretty good.
Oh yeah.
But I saw it up there and I was like, oh yeah, I'll try the new burger. And they said well or medium well. I was like, oh, Arby's, we're getting fancy.
Man, did the person working the window have like a twirly mustache?
For real, they had the napkin over the arm and
you
everything.
Pull up there and it's just Ratatouille, like whipping up your burger.
But yeah,
man, that's awesome. Exciting. I'll definitely come down there and get me a double beef and cheddar. I don't know if that's even what they're called down there.
I think it is
something like that.
I get the wraps. I like the wraps a lot. The bacon jalapeno ranch wrap
sounds so good,
dude. It's the best thing on their menu.
I'm so hungry right now, and I just so everybody knows that's listening, I sacrificed me making dinner to record this podcast.
Yeah, he's gonna be in the doghouse for us.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of in my own doghouse, so I want to start off today's podcast with an official Hunter Higgins apology. Me and Brett's schedules have kind of clashed, and they typically do whenever I'm on afternoon anyway. And we just haven't had a good opportunity really to get together and record. So, Brett, I'd like to apologize to you officially. Hopefully you accept it.
No, it's okay. I apologize for missing our previously scheduled recording time.
How dare you get sick?
No, I woke up with a nasty stomach bug.
That's illegal. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I'm sorry. He's going to fire me, guys.
The FBI is on the way right now.
He's not only firing me, he's sending me to federal prison.
But yeah, so the good news in that aspect, though, is, Brett, we are going to do a little bit of a double whammy this week. That doesn't even sound like a positive term. Help me out here. Help me find a more positive way to describe this week's
feature.
Yeah.
A Reel Rendezvous double feature.
Yeah.
Someone trademarked that?
Yeah. We're the trademark guy. Deadpool head back there. Stamp it. He said yes.
Yeah, he did. He nodded.
So we're recording this podcast on Tuesday, the 24th. We are going to be, talking about some of the stuff we've missed over the last couple weeks. We're going to dabble with a little bit of multiverse of madness here, talk about some trailers, and we are reviewing 2004's The Punisher with Thomas Jane. Absolute classic in Hunter Higgins' upbringing. I can't wait to talk about this because it's truly not a great movie at all. Not even really a good movie. But I'm so excited to talk about this, and I still had a lot of fun watching it. So this was a really good pick, by the way. I was really glad you picked this.
I had heard legends.
Legends foretold
of Thomas Jane's Punisher.
Yeah.
And Punisher's not a character I have a lot of affiliation with. He was never really, Dad never really was super into Punisher, so he wasn't talked about a lot.
Right.
But I knew of him. And then he was in Daredevil Season 2 with John Bernthal, and that was great. And then he got his own show.
Right.
And so, and of course, as that show was coming out, everyone was talking about 2004 Thomas Jane Punisher.
Yeah.
And so it was always on the list, but I had never had a chance to, or like a reason to sit down and watch it.
Right.
And then you showed me that clip of the fight scene with the Russian, and I was like,
I hooked you.
I got to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that's one of the other fun things about this podcast is just we get to go back on those movies. We have a reason to like seek out certain movies and things. But so we are going to be recording that for this podcast. And then on Friday, in celebration of the Kenobi series premiering, first off, we're going to get together and watch when it drops.
For sure.
Prior to recording on Friday. We won't spoil anything. Or will we? Well, I mean, we're all spoilers podcasts, so we might.
We'll let you know when we get there.
Yeah. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But also, we're going to do what we spoke of on the last podcast, top 10 Star Wars forms of visual media. That's a lot better than what I came up with last time. So we're going to basically rank our top 10 Star Wars movies and TV shows, correct?
So no games are included? We're not including games?
Yeah, I wasn't going to do games.
Okay.
I was just going to do movies and TV shows. Man, I ain't played enough Star Wars games to do that. No, I haven't played enough Star Wars games to rank a top 10 Star Wars games list. I played like 2. But some people would probably like turn this podcast off right now if they knew I had never played Knights of the Old Republic.
Me neither.
Okay.
However, when the remake comes out, I do plan on getting it.
RPGs just aren't my thing.
I've grown more accustomed to them as I've gotten older. I'm more open to them.
Yeah.
But they're still not my favorite.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and right now say that Jedi Fallen Order is hands down the best Star Wars video game I've ever played. With that said, I've played like 3.
Well, you, sir, haven't played Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
Yeah. I tell you what, it's on my wish list.
It's really good.
Yeah, I've seen everybody say it's really good.
Like even like if you aren't a fan of previous Lego games,
right.
I think you would like this one more because it honestly, like, it's still a Lego game at heart, but like the mechanics and stuff of it feel a lot more like what people would consider an actual video game.
Well, like, I know that I've seen no bad reviews particularly for any of the Lego games.
I love the Lego games.
And it's all like it's all IPs that I enjoy. Most of them anyway. And like I think maybe it was you that told me they're just at their heart like a platform.
Yeah, they're just beat 'em up platformers. Yeah, it's just a fun time.
That's fun.
Yeah,
that's like comfort food.
Yeah,
like, it's like ice cream.
I've always loved the Lego games. They're just great.
Yeah, I've been considering getting involved, but I have some other video games I need to play prior to. So ask me about my experience with Lego Star Wars this time next year.
That's why I could never review games. It's because I just take too long to beat them.
Yeah, it's... Where's the time, you know?
I can talk about them, but I mean, if you want to hear a review of a game I played like 2 years ago,
yeah,
I got you covered on that front.
No doubt. So, don't know if you guys follow the socials, but me and Brett, we went to the movies together.
Yes.
And watched Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, directed by our guy Sam Raimi.
Shout out Sam Raimi.
Loved it. I loved it. We're not here to review that movie specifically, and we'll not really dive into any spoilers for it or anything. We'll kind of brush through it like what we did with the Batman on that one episode. But I really loved it. I think this movie... I think Alyssa described it because she went with us as well, my wife, and she said... if I watched this by myself, I would say Hunter would love this because it has so many Sam Raimi-isms. And Brett, I know that you've never watched like the Evil Dead movies, and man, I got to sit you down and watch them with you.
Well, I got good news about what I was gonna pick for my next movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing, though. If we watch the Evil Dead movies, we need to watch all 3 of them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because you need to understand. The transgression, not transgression, that's the wrong word. The mutation, maybe, of Sam Raimi's style.
Oh, yeah.
The first Evil Dead is pretty much a straight up horror movie, and it's like a low budget horror movie. With that said, that's why people loved it so much, and it had so much appeal because like they were like, oh man, with what he had, this is a like really cool, really unique movie. It's very, very toned down though on the humor. It takes itself a lot more seriously than like any of his other shit. Evil Dead 2 is where you're really like, that's Sam Raimi. And then Army of Darkness is just like bonkers, hilarious, awesome. Like I love, like this is no spoilers here, but I would definitely say Multiverse of Madness has so much Army of Darkness injected in it. And I love that.
While we were watching it, he was like That's Evil Dead right there.
Oh,
That is
yeah,
so
man.
Evil Dead.
Yeah. So first off, like I said, we love Sam Raimi. I love Sam Raimi, and I love his goofiness and his tongue in cheek. And this is throughout this movie. A lot more in the third act, and I think that that's the strongest segment of this film too. Is the third act of the movie. So, Brett, you're pretty witty with it. Give me a real rough plot of Multiverse of Madness.
Okay, no spoilers.
Yeah, just break it down real quick.
Yeah, America Chavez. She is a multiversal traveler. She ends up in our mainline MCU universe, seeks out Doctor Strange for some help against a certain entity that is trying to strip her of her multiversal powers, which would end up killing her. And so shenanigans ensue because she can't really control those powers. So she bounces them around to a few different universes as they try and resolve that conflict.
So that's another thing that you just describing that helped me out. So thank you. This movie almost kind of like stands on its own a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though it expands on the multiverse theory that we've seen through the TV series and help me out here. What's the other multiverse? No Way Home. Which I love. This movie really does a good job of standing on its own.
A lot of the recent Marvel projects that they've been putting out have felt a lot more self-contained than Phase. And a lot of people, because a lot of people are noticing that, and a few people online actually don't like that. They miss how completely tight-knit integrated things were back in Phase 1 leading up to the Avengers. I personally prefer the more, sort of like a regular person could come and see this with very little knowledge of everything else that's happened so far.
I like something
and
that can stand
it.
on its own 2 feet.
Moon Knight is the pinnacle of that style that they're going for.
Right.
Moon Knight, like anyone, I know we touched on it last episode, but
I don't think I like Moon Knight quite, not near as much as you do. I do enjoy it, and I think it's a pretty cool show. But I think one of the best things about Moon Knight is that aspect that you don't have to have really any. You don't have to have any previous knowledge of any of the already
I'm pretty sure there's I think they mention the Hippo Goddess mentions the astral plane from Black Panther, and that is the only outside reference to the greater MCU that entire show has.
That almost reminds me of like late 90s, early 1000s, like Blade, X-Men, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, where you would just have like a very little Easter egg that did not have any external consequence. When the MCU became the MCU, every little comment, every little Easter egg had a domino effect into something else.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked back then the cheeky little, this here, this there. I really like that aspect of Multiverse of Madness and Moon Knight. I think Moon Knight's really unique too. I feel like Doctor Strange also is a character that I don't want to say is unlikable in like Infinity War and Endgame, but there's some aspects to him that make him more of a plot device than a character at some points. And he's always been kind of uninteresting to me in general. And I like the way that he was able to, I don't know how to put this in terms, kind of just be a sorcerer or a wizard or really be kind of slightly darker, which is a Sam Raimi thing too. Benedict Cumberbatch is just like a good actor.
Oh, for sure.
I pointed out multiple times when we were watching, like, this dude does a good job of making me think he's American. And I don't really like have any complaints about it. I mean, honestly.
Doctor Strange is a character that's really, really grown on me over the course of the MCU. When, way back, it feels like so long ago when the first movie was announced, I was like, Doctor Strange? I don't care about Doctor Strange.
Yeah. I feel like that's how mostly everybody was,
Well, the MCU does a really good job at taking characters like that, like, Moon Knight, Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, and really just like making them accessible for wider audiences. But and you know, the first Doctor Strange movie didn't like blow my mind, but I was like, that's pretty good. I like Benedict Cumberbatch in the role. And then, you know, just every subsequent appearance, it's just like, man, he's a really cool character. But I think Multiverse of Madness really sold me. I was like, I like Doctor Strange.
So between the first Doctor Strange and this one, I would say that, like, in a broader spectrum of things, the first one had, like, you know, 3 or 4 like bullet points that it hit that I really enjoyed that we've talked about. First off, Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange is awesome. You could say that about a lot of the MCU casting choices.
Yeah, the MCU's
they're really good at that.
They are fantastic with their casting.
There is a well, the end of the first Doctor Strange with Dormammu.
I've come to bargain.
That's great. That's a great scene. That whole sequence is great. It's visually appealing. I really love that whole aspect of that movie. And then there's maybe, like, you know, 1 or 2 other little things that I enjoy, but it just hits the bullet points. But Multiverse of Madness, I feel like the entire banner is stretched out with things I like. At no point watching that movie was I like, nah, or bored, or, you know, as some other people would say, checking my watch. Like, there was none of that for me, really. Yeah. Even the divisive sequence in the second act with some people that I'm not going to describe in any more detail.
Yeah, the Illuminati. We can say the Illuminati because the trailer calls them the Illuminati.
Okay.
But we just won't talk about who they are.
Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of people were not with that. I kind of liked it.
I wouldn't say I was bored at any point. No, but there was I don't think I mean I wasn't as head over heels like as a movie, like stylistically Sam Raimi, everything Sam Raimi does, that's the best part of the movie. But there were some points, like mostly with the story and the script, that were my biggest issues. I've leaned forward to scratch my leg.
Hey man, it happens. Guess what I'm doing over here with my left hand?
He's scratching his leg.
That sounded terrible.
I don't think I want to guess. I
literally am scratching my leg. Anyways, what would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10?
A 7 feels too low and an 8 feels a little too high.
Well, that's the glory of
so I'm gonna say a 7.
Our rating scale.
I say I would give Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness a 7.25, 7.25.
Okay, respectable. I want to give it like a 8.5 maybe. I really liked it, man. And like, well, you were there with me. Like that whole third act, man. It was just bonkers. Like it in my opinion truly lived up to it being mad. Like
the third act was definitely the best part.
Like I was listening to this the review you heard me listening to earlier, that podcast. Not that they weren't reviewing it whenever you heard me listening to it, but that podcast, Lights Camera Barstool, I love. How do I want to say this? No, I don't love the way they described it, but one of the guys on the podcast that gave it a bad rating, there's like 3 dudes, and one of them gave it like a 6 out of 10, or they rated on like a scale of 100, so he gave it like a 6 point something out of 10, and he said it didn't live up to the title of madness. And I'm like, how can you watch that last like 45 minutes to an hour and not be like, dude, this is nuts?
I can see, because I did think maybe there was going to be more universe hopping. They spend most of the movie in like 2 different places.
I will agree with that. If there was if they wanted to add some more to the multiverse, they definitely could have.
They delegate most of the universe hopping to like a 2-minute montage.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't even know if it was 2 minutes. Might have been shorter, but no, I that third act is definitely mad. that was, it's, you know, no spoilers, but that was probably my favorite part. It's just so cool.
If there's one other complaint I would have, and it's minor, it is that relying on the whole concept of a multiverse, you just have so many like loopholes that you can, you know, fall through, and there's no rules, which I guess leans into the madness aspect of things. But at the same time, I just really liked the movie. I thought it was great.
I love multiverse stories.
This is the best MCU movie or TV show that I've seen in a while.
Is there any MCU stuff you've missed?
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna
Loki.
say, I think another problem for me might be I feel like maybe I'm getting a little burnt out.
Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of people are,
because they have their content set up now that you get a new MCU project every month.
Yeah.
Whether on the in between months between movies, there's a TV show, and me and Dad every single day since 2008 we've been watching every single movie, every single project, getting the whole story and taking it in. And before they were more spread out, you had to wait. The wait between Infinity War and Endgame was like almost 2 years, I think. And now there's a new project every month with all this stuff you got to take in. And I think maybe, and they are switching up the formula. I'm glad they are. If they were doing what they were before, I don't know if I would even still be following the MCU up until this point.
Yeah.
And they are switching it up, but it's still just like, okay, time to go see my contractually obligated Marvel movie.
I have a little fun fact to back up what you're saying there. So once again, Lights, Camera, Barstool, the podcast I was listening to earlier when Brett came over, they had a fact on there, a statement or whatever, that since leading up to Infinity War, I think there were 18 projects that was released as part of the MCU, or leading up to Endgame. And since Endgame, we've already had 19 released, or vice versa. There was 19 that came out prior to Endgame, and we've already had 18 released since then. Which, when did Endgame come out? Was that 3 years ago?
I think maybe.
Regardless, but
it was.
And like that's something that they were saying on their podcast too, that it's almost like you're to the point now where you get burnt out on the MCU in general.
Yeah.
And they were saying that when they were talking about She-Hulk. What do you think of that stuff, huh?
I'm excited. I was like I was telling you earlier, it was out of the lineup that they revealed, like that chunk of shows that were coming out. She-Hulk sounded the most interesting to me because she's not a character I know a ton about, but what I do know about her, I really like. I like that she's a lawyer. I like that, she gets the strength, but she gets to keep her mind because, she doesn't have as much radiation in her. You know why she's She-Hulk?
No.
I don't know. Maybe they'll do it the same way in the show, but in the comics, it's because she's in an accident, and since Bruce Banner's her cousin, she gets a blood transfusion from him to save her life. And obviously his blood's radiated, so she gets a little bit of it.
I had no clue.
I'm a little I was hoping when it was announced, and they changed the title because it used to just be She-Hulk. Now the full title is She-Hulk Attorney at Law.
Yeah.
And when they changed the title, I was hoping that it was gonna be like a more somber. I was hoping for maybe like Law and Order, but it's the MCU, and then obviously some jokes here and there. But it looks more like they're going for a slice of life sitcom feel. Like you said, you said that
they have like a comedic. You feel
sitcom
like
it's very bright. It's very jokey.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of like maybe like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia or like New Girl.
Yeah, I would say similar to like a New Girl. So yeah. I think it needs laugh tracks.
Yeah.
I think.
I love I haven't seen that actress in anything else. But I love, like, from what the trailer, I think she's doing a great job. I think she looks great when she's not She-Hulk.
Yeah, let's talk about the elephant in the room there.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. I was talking to Kaylee. The whole point with She-Hulk is that she gets a little buffer and a little taller, and her hair gets crazy.
Yeah.
There was no reason to go full CG on her entire face.
Yeah.
Because they can't do it. It doesn't look good.
Now that you say that
they should have just CG'd her muscles, CG'd her height, and then just painted her face green.
This you may disagree with this, but as we were talking earlier about like the height, I didn't realize that the Hulk wasn't truly, like, I thought he was like way taller, but him only being 8-9 feet and her only being 6'7", there's not like a 6'7" like double you could have out there and do like mocap.
Yeah. Like,
maybe they did. I don't know.
I really just like
if they did, they sucked. They did a terrible job.
Even if they did want to do the full CG for the body, I don't know why they did it for the face.
Right.
Because it doesn't look good. It's not, especially on a TV show budget. Which, granted, Marvel's TV show budget is not the same as ABC's TV show budget.
Not at all.
But it's still less than what they would put in their movies.
I think Disney Plus threw like 90% of their TV series budget at Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And like some of the MCU shows are like feeding off the scraps. Like they're not all like bad or anything. Like I just feel like there's a few sequences and a few shows that are bad.
I just think her face of all things should have either put more time into the CG or just done it practically.
Yeah.
Because
I think doing a practical would have been fun.
Yeah. Especially like kind of harkening back to Lou Ferrigno.
Well, even like the font on the title card, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, looks like it was plucked straight out like 1987.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
And it would kind of go with the tone they're aiming for.
I really think they should have gone practical for her She-Hulk look. But I'm still hopeful. I liked the trailer a lot. Outside, Frogman's in it. How can you not?
I saw your tweet.
How can you not like that they put Frogman in She-Hulk?
Who the hell's Frogman?
He's I don't know what version they're going with because
Brett's the king of obscure characters.
Yeah, because there's two. There's two Frogmen, right? There's the Frogman who's a villain. He's like a low-level robber, and then there's his son who takes his suit and goes by the name Frogman, but he's a hero.
Okay.
I don't know if they're gonna make Frogman like her sidekick or if he's just like a one-off villain because Titania. I always have trouble saying it. Titania is like I think is gonna be the main villain of the show.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know a ton about her. She wears a funky like high school band outfit and she has super strength. They fight sometimes. She's like the cheetah. Like Wonder Woman has Cheetah.
Yeah.
She-Hulk has Titania.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I did see in the trailer Tim Roth was in there as
as Abomination.
Abomination.
Yeah, he's coming back.
So that's cool. He's a really good actor.
Wong's coming back because Wong and Abomination.
We didn't even talk about Wong on
Multiverse,
man.
They need to give Wong either a show or a solo movie. Because,
Wong's a goat,
because Benedict Wong. I think it's funny that he shares the name.
Yeah.
And also his first name is also Benedict.
Yeah. Like we just like your name. Like just keep it.
Benedict Wong. He's just great. Anything he's in as Wong is elevated because of it, and I think he needs a solo project immediately.
He has like this super hilarious, like serious humor. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like
sorcerers, fortify your minds.
Yeah, dude, that was so funny. He's great. He's great in Multiverse. He's great in everything, like you said. Get this man his series,
dude.
Now,
give
ASAP.
me Wong on Disney Plus.
I don't care if it's just him like getting an Uber driver to go to dinner.
Morbius and Wong in the multiverse of sex. I don't know if you've seen those memes.
Yeah, I've seen like a bunch of stuff like it's Morbin time and like that shit's funny.
Well, okay. Well, it's Morbius and Wong in the multiverse of sex is a very layered joke. So you have to know about 3 different jokes. The first one is Morbius, obviously. The second one is Wong. The third one is the lesser known one, and that's the part that you're probably kind of scratching your head at. Well, there's a joke that Ned Leeds, Jacob Batalon, I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Well, there was a meme that went around for a while where he was the CEO of sex. And so there's a people make fake movie posters, and the funniest one I saw was Morbius and Wong in the multiverse of sex, and it's got all 3 of them on the poster, and I love it.
You're gonna have to show me these.
I'll show it to you.
Post-pod. It sounds great.
No, it's really funny.
Brett's the king of other than obscure characters, obscure humor as well.
Yeah.
So She-Hulk, I don't look super appealed to it. Brett, you know him. He likes the if they don't like it, he loves it. But
he's also a contrarian on our own podcast.
just flaming you right now. Nah, I think we're both kind of like that in certain aspects. I think there's things that we enjoy that the general populace doesn't. Trailers, Thor. We need to talk a little bit, just real quick.
It looks fine.
Okay, let's move on.
Christian Bale looks great. Thor's armor looks goofy. The CGI isn't too great on it.
Why are we CGIing armor?
Right. Well, Marvel's had a consistent problem with overusing CGI. They CGI buildings for no reason. But now, especially, like, I think they're just getting lazy with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about in that one scene in the trailer.
With his helmet.
Looks stupid.
Looks like a Snapchat filter.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
That's a great way to describe it.
And it's crazy how, like, because it's like, in any Marvel movie, you can find some of the best CGI you've ever seen, and then, like, 2 scenes over, some of the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how this is happening. Like, how do they have a giant Viking longship piloted by 2 photorealistic goats, but they can't make a freaking helmet look good?
Yeah, I agree. I see what you're saying. There's no consistency, which doesn't make sense because is there a studio on planet Earth that has more money?
Yeah.
I mean, or more people they can assign to make things perfect.
Or, just have your prop department build a helmet.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even have to be
it's not that
computer
hard.
generated. And plus, this is, I would say that this is one of like the more anticipated Marvel movies of the past couple years. Like people loved Ragnarok.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Ragnarok a lot.
Good old Taika. He saved Thor.
Yeah, he really did. He really did. I haven't watched a ton of his like other stuff.
I really, really want to see Jojo Rabbit. I just haven't gotten
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking of because
Yeah.
I know a lot of people love that movie. And man, what's some other stuff he's done?
I have no idea.
He's like one of those really like off the wall directors.
Yep.
And I think Marvel does a great job of finding certain random directors that are kind of on the come up, you know, or just goats like Sam Raimi, James Gunn. Shout out James Gunn.
Shout out James
We
Gunn.
have to shout out James Gunn.
Yeah, we've been lacking on our James Gunn shout outs.
I really enjoyed the Thor trailer. Tessa Thompson's hot. Chris Hemsworth's hot. Natalie Portman's hot. Who else was hot? Christian Bale's hot.
Russell Crowe's hot.
Nah, Russell Crowe looks fat, dude. I was mad at him.
Well, he's Zeus.
We just watched The Quick and the Dead, which he's just looking young and like a stud. Got the meanest 5 o'clock shadow I've ever seen. And now he's old and fat. So,
I'm pretty sure it's prosthetics, though, because I saw a picture of Russell Crowe not too long ago that I thought was pretty recent.
It probably is.
Yeah, because, he's Zeus.
Well,
Obviously,
Thor worked out and got rid of the dad bod
Yeah,
and just gave
he
it
gave
to
it to
Zeus.
Zeus,
Yeah,
yeah.
like he gave that prop to Russell Crowe.
Well, Zeus thought the dad bod was back on the up and up. He was copying Thor, and then Thor shows up and he's like, oh,
He's stealing his swag.
what have I done?
I really love like the whole 80s like glam metal.
Yes.
Like you were saying with Sweet Child of Mine, like playing in the background.
Yeah, I love that they implemented Sweet Child of Mine into an original score. I really hope they keep that.
That would be tight. And Christian Bale is a great actor, and him finally getting recruited to the MCU is awesome. Really, it's a crime and a mystery that he hasn't been involved in since then. I feel like he's kind of like gives me like snobby vibes though.
A little bit.
Yeah, like he would only choose certain projects. He looks, speaking of metal, he looks like a black metal singer. Like he's all black and white, and like just gritty and gross looking. And he's the God Butcher, which, people who listen to black metal don't believe in God typically. So that's little irony there. I'm super excited for that one.
Yeah, I think it's good. I wonder if they're going to do the Venom sword thing, or if they're going to have a different explanation for it.
So, is he a symbiote?
Yes.
Okay, so Gore is a symbiote?
Gore himself isn't, but he has one. Like, his
okay.
sword is infused with a symbiote, and that's what gives him a lot of his strength. Like, that... his cloak in this is just like a cloth cloak, but if you look at pictures of him in the comics, that big black cloak he has is also a symbiote.
Whenever I found out Christian Bale was cast as that character, I was like on Google Images looking it up, and like Jay Lee actually did a lot of like not cover art, but did some artwork of him, and he looks sick, dude. Like you said, it's like you can tell it's a symbiote cloak now that you mention it, because he's like almost got like the anti-venom color palette with like all white with like black veins. But yeah, I mean, I would probably put him on my list of most metal comic book characters. Thor would be in there too. He's not up high though. He's not super metal, just kind of metal. We were talking earlier about the Punisher and how he's kind of a metal character. Speaking of which, should we get to the Punisher?
Yeah, let's jump into the Punisher.
You ready for this?
I'm ready for this.
Okay, so just to lay it all out there to everyone, we're going to do a new format for how we review a movie. I wasn't super pleased with the way things went on The Quick and the Dead, me reading the synopsis. And generally speaking, reading the synopsis just lengthens the podcast and it makes my job more difficult. And me and Brett are really just here to talk about movies. So also, since we're doing 2 episodes this week, we're going to try and shorten things up a little bit. I'm not going to be reading the synopsis off anything. If anybody is listening and wants to let us know what they think of things, holla. But we're going to try and roll with this from now on and just bounce off each other, what we like, what we didn't, characters, setting, plot, blah, 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 blah.
All the great things movies have.
I'm still going to do like the background, talking about the director and the score and, budget and all that stuff.
I do like that. That's one of my favorite parts.
Yes. It provides a little bit more meat to chew on there. So 2004's The Punisher, directed by John Hensleigh. So this dude didn't really direct much else.
Yeah,
I think he had like 1 or 2 other films.
I don't even recognize the name.
I think it reflects that he doesn't have a lot of experience. Starring Thomas Jane, John Travolta, Rebecca Romijn. I'm definitely pronouncing that right. Will Patton and Ben Foster.
No, it's Romaine.
Is that how it's supposed to be?
What? Yeah.
Well, it's spelled really weird.
No, it is. It is.
It's got like a J in there.
Yeah. I thought you were doing a bit. Yeah, no, it's Rebecca Romijn.
Man, I wish I was doing a bit now. I guess I had that coming, though. I drug you earlier. Now we're even. We're square. This movie had a budget of $33 million. Its U.S. gross is $33.8 million. And then its worldwide gross is $54.7 million.
0.8 profit, baby. Let's go.
So it made somewhat of a profit. The score is done by Carlos Salado. I always like reading the score because I love a good movie soundtrack, movie score. This dude didn't do diddly. The only good music in the movie was like a song played for... Well, I shouldn't say that. I do like the main theme that plays like in the opening. But other than that, like the soundtrack sounds like run-of-the-mill TV show music. It's terrible. So the movie centers around Frank Castle, if you didn't know that. He is an undercover FBI agent who becomes a vigilante and sets out to unleash his wrath upon the corrupt businessman who slaughtered his entire family at a reunion. Brett, how much did this movie suck, or did it rule?
Yes.
Okay, so this movie, I'll start out with a little bit of my background and my previous relationship with this movie. Whenever I was young, one of the first comic books I ever got was for Christmas. My dad bought me a big omnibus almost. It was called The Punisher. A lot of the artwork in it's by Mike Zeck, and it looks really badass. And that's kind of how I got into the Punisher. I always thought he just had a cool image. I like superheroes that don't have, powers or anything. And he just was always really appealing to me. And around the time I got this comic book, this movie had just came out. It just came out like the previous year. So I can remember watching it and just really, really enjoying it as a kid. I got it on DVD a few years later. And I've seen this movie 1,000 times. Maybe not that many, but a lot. As I've gotten older and just recollecting watching this movie, I know it's not a good movie. After reading other people's reviews and seeing other people's opinions about it, I know that it's just constructually and the way it's filmed, it's not a good movie. With that said, I still feel like this movie has a lot of charm and definitely has a couple of redeeming qualities. If you can appreciate some goofiness and some fun action set pieces, and maybe what would another general term of a redeeming quality be for this film? I just always fall back on it does have charm.
Yeah, I think the charm is definitely carries it. And there are a few cool sequences.
Yeah.
Especially with the action. There's a good couple of like just good action scenes.
Yeah, I think that
Well choreographed fights.
yeah, I think that like we were saying earlier, you can see that whoever made this movie, or maybe it was everybody that made this movie, they knew how to put cool shit out there.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to make cool shit into a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So like the opening of the movie starts out with not John Travolta. Thomas Jane is, undercover, and he ends up in this drug bust and getting this kid killed in the drug bust. The kid is John Travolta's son. John Travolta is the antagonist of the film, Howard Saint. He's like this big mob boss, and Howard Saint ends up finding out Frank Castle is retired and is conveniently on family reunion vacation in Puerto Rico. So he just goes and kills his whole family as revenge.
Who is Otto Krieg? Tell me everything you know about Otto Krieg. Sir, this is an active police investigation.
Let's just go ahead and lay it out there now too. Like, this movie would be a lot better if John Travolta didn't suck.
To be fair, I don't think anyone's doing a particularly good job, except maybe the.
I think Rebecca Romaine's doing a good job, looking fine.
For real, I will. We'll touch on it a bit later. I think the best performances come from the apartment dwellers.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah,
we'll dispel some of the greatness of this film later, and by greatness I mean like the three things that we liked.
But by far the worst performance in this movie is John Travolta.
And like you said, though, to elaborate on nobody being good, like this film's not written well.
No,
there's no good dialogue except for when Thomas Jane truly becomes the Punisher somewhere in the second act. Yeah, and all of it's almost like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze, like all one-liners. And if you can find anything in that appealing, you can find this movie slightly appealing. So that whole opening sequence of him going to Puerto Rico with his family for this family reunion, it's so bad. There's no actual family chemistry, in my opinion, at all.
Yeah.
It feels so like jilted.
It's like they took a room of extras and were like, all right, guys, you now have speaking roles.
Well, and like I was telling you earlier, like the guy that plays as Frank Castle Sr., his dad, Roy Scheider, is a good actor.
Yeah.
He played as, I can't remember the character's name, but he was the main character in Jaws, freaking Jaws, one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah, he was the shark.
They just sat him in like this submarine, like this little one-man unit, drove it around as a shark. But it's almost like hilarious when his family gets slaughtered. And it's in Puerto Rico, and they're all out having a good time on their patio, drinking, cooking, dancing, listening to music. And both the Frank Castle Jr. and Sr. bumble into Frank Castle Sr.'s little hut, which I guess this is his like personal...
It's like a little armory.
Yeah, and he's just got all like his old... Which obviously he was in the military too. A man of that stature would collect firearms. But does he own his own private beach in Puerto Rico? Yeah. And just keeps his guns here?
Yeah.
And then, like, of course, conveniently...
modified guns.
Conveniently, the two, like, well-trained military men are in the building room when, the family's getting murdered. So they go out and, they kill a few, like, Goonies and... without breaking down the whole plot, which seems like I'm doing. His whole family dies. I will say that when the truck rolls over, when his wife and his son are crawling out of it, and like they're the last two standing, and they get run down by the Goonies in the truck. The son, I think that child actor sounds genuinely stressed out. But so they kill his family. He tries to kill them. They get the upper hand. My man takes 3 to the chest.
They slaughter this man.
Yeah, he takes 3 to the chest, and like they leave him on this dock and set it on fire,
and then blow him up.
Yeah, which the film did go out of its way to show us he did not get blown up. He got concussively blasted into the ocean.
Yeah. Explosions in this movie just send people flying.
And that explosion was hilarious too. Have you ever seen any of the videos where people talk shit about Michael Bay explosions in movies? How they always look like fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one had fireworks shooting out.
Yeah.
So that happens, and then it doesn't even have a timestamp on how long this goes by.
It just fades to show us that time has passed. They give him this awful fake beard.
Yeah, it's so funny. But I will say at this point, and then he's revived by the local Puerto Rican witch doctor.
He just lives down the way.
I can't even say Puerto Rico. Is that where it was?
Yeah. No, they made it very specific that they were in Puerto Rico.
Okay. So this local shaman heals his 4 gunshot wounds to his chest and upper body. He grows the beard. He goes back to gather his belongings. That's another just total plot drop. Is there no police here?
Nope.
Would they not confiscate all items? Or did he just go back the next day before nobody discovered his dad's private beach/armory?
Yeah, he just grows facial hair really
This is a
fast.
fucking Far Cry game, dude.
Oh my God, it is. Holy crap, it literally is.
I mean, what the hell?
Dude, it's Far Cry meets Postal. The beginning is Far Cry, and then when he's Punisher, it's Postal.
Oh, dude, you about made me spit my drink everywhere.
Oh, no.
So he goes back after his wounds are healed, gets all his guns, goes back to the U.S., and he seeks vengeance against Howard Saint. So to elaborate on anything else there, that whole opening, the first act is trash.
Yeah,
the acting's trash.
Really not great.
It's honestly, if this was executed just a little bit better in the first act of this movie, I would bump my score up at least a whole number grade. Spoiler alert, I give it a 5.5 out of 10. This isn't a good movie. But if the first act was just written a little bit better and performed a little bit better, I would definitely give this a 6.5, maybe even, it doesn't deserve a 7. But anyways, so getting into the second act here, this is where this movie could earn a 7, maybe.
Maybe.
Could be.
If someone was willing to give it one.
Go ahead and jump in here and elaborate on the 7. I mean, second act.
So, after Frank is massacred and then gets better.
His family's massacred. He's mutilated.
Oh, okay.
I don't care. I'm just being a smart ass.
That is more. That makes more sense.
Well, he was part of the massacre, so you were right. But anyways, go on.
Anyway, Frank gets his ass kicked. He gets better. Goes back to America. And then he's mad at everybody.
Yeah.
He's mad at the police. He's mad at Howard. He's mad at his car.
Yeah.
And so he soups up his car. So he goes and tells off the police first. He shows up and they're like,
which is a pretty fun scene.
Frank Castle, I thought you were dead. He was like, I'm not.
Yeah. So in the second act, he kind of Thomas Jane summons his inner Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood, and he has a lot of like I was saying earlier, he talks in nothing but one-liners the entire last hour of this movie, and it's not great, but it kind of is.
Well, I mean, as soon as he gets back from his healing session. He's a new man. He's transformed. He drops the banger of a line that is, God's going to sit this one out.
Yeah, which is a great line. Oh, man, we didn't even touch base on how he got his t-shirt either.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
His little boy goes to, the Puerto Rican market, and he buys him a t-shirt, and he's like, this t-shirt's it's intense.
Yeah, he said it's supposed to ward off evil spirits, and it's a graphic tee
with a skull.
It's got a skull on it. He's it's so intense. It's pretty scary.
It's gonna ward off the evil.
It's the most unscary skull I've ever seen in my life. Anyways, let's go back to the second act here without just unraveling the whole synopsis like I usually do. He goes back to the States like Brett said, and this is where the movie gets a lot better. He isn't afraid to let people know he's still alive and he's back. Like Brett said, he shows up on the front steps of the police HQ or whatever the hell you want to call it. Tells them off. The world knows he's back. They don't really know where he's staying at or what he's got planned thus far. Eventually, Howard Saint finds out. He attacks Howard Saint's money because Howard Saint's like a big baller. This is set in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
So he's got like a bank. He's got a nightclub. He's like a kingpin character.
Yeah, he runs
basically.
money for the Cubans.
Right, which is so stereotypical. Like,
yeah, who even were they? Why were they even there?
Anyways,
they show up for 2 scenes to be mean to Howard and then disappear from the movie.
Yeah, they had no like real overarching whatever. But anyways, so whenever he like starts executing his plan of vengeance, like you said earlier, there's a lot more like there's not so much punishing as there is.
Yeah, he just
like ruining.
Yeah, well, I said they should have called it the prankster, but I mean they're a little worse than pranks maybe, but like not really. He's just kind of like he just kind of masterminds everyone's downfall.
Well, I think once it does come to the final showdown at the end, and he, spoiler alert, kills Howard, it's executed kind of good.
Yeah, he does all of his punishing in the last 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. So, and then when Howard Saint finally like catches wind of where he's staying at, he sends these there's a couple different hitmen that show up to try and kill Frank. And as I said, the second act has some cool stuff to it. There's the whole sequence with Harry Heck, like the musician hitman, is really cool. Provides us with our best music in the movie. In the second act, the apartment that he's staying in is just like this little beat up, like ransacked. What would you even call it?
I don't know. Who owns this building?
Yeah.
Because he comes in, not only does he modify his entire room, it blows up, and no one ever shows up to like be like, what?
Well, see, what I think is like this apartment complex really isn't a complex. It was like a warehouse that somebody used like a space rent.
Yeah, to be fair, there's only four
there's
apartments.
There's only 4 tenants at this fucking place anyway. But that's another good thing about the film is the dynamic that he creates with the other 3 tenants of the apartment complex. It's cool.
They were definitely my favorite aspect of the movie. I thought I was like gonna not like them because it's like, who are these random people in my Punisher movie?
You know what this would have been really cool as? Like a limited series. I know we were talking earlier about like Love, Death, and Robots. Not animated, but just like a limited series with like short, choppy adventures of the Punisher and his apartment buddies.
Yeah.
Like, I like how it like has that, like, we're going to throw the guitar playing hitman at him now.
Yeah.
You got the Russian coming next, you know, and then like just little random stuff happening. Like, I think that's when the movie's at its best. He has some cool interactions with Rebecca Romaine's character, which she's got a couple good lines in the movie. The only 2 good lines in the whole movie are hers. And, but yeah, like I said, the second act's cool. There's some violence. You get to see the plot thickening of what his overarching revenge is against Howard Saint. And then in the third act, he goes to Saint's nightclub once Howard finally thinks that he has Frank Castle dead. He's not. And like you said, that's when the punishing finally happens. Like the last 30 minutes of the movie, he kills like 10 guys.
And it kind of caught me off guard because he goes from this like sly trickster man who like shot a couple people, but then he just shows up and he's is slaughtering all of these people. Yeah,
then it just becomes like time to be a one-man wrecking crew, which is also hilarious because, like you were saying earlier, when the building explodes, it's got to be like a good like 20 minutes after he first gets on site at Saint's nightclub, and he's got a M16 in there. Mowing dudes down, sawed-off shotgun. Like, these guns are loud as hell. He blows the place up.
Yeah, he puts
and like at least you can like make the excuse with the apartment complex. Like it shows like a landscape image of it, and it's kind of like in the outskirts of town. No, dude, the nightclub is like right in downtown.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be a cop there like ASAP.
And also, Frank, like we were talking about, Frank Castle makes no attempt to hide who he is and what he's mad about.
Yeah.
And so when Howard Saint's men start dying, no one's like, Hey, has anyone seen Frank? do we know what he's up to?
Yeah. And then, like, whenever he kills Howard, he tells him, like, his whole plot or whatever. And it's kind of cool. And then
it is cool watching it all play. I have a love-hate relationship with his
you go to embrace
vibes.
Yeah, you go to embrace that, and you're like, man, that ain't too bad.
Yeah.
And then
it's like, man, that's really cool.
You have to let go of your embrace afterwards when he ties him to the fucking car, and the car drifts into the used car lot across the street.
Up all of them.
No, he doesn't blow up all of them. He conveniently blows up only the cars to where an overhead shot makes the Punisher skull in bad computer flames. These are like
no, he set it up because as he sends the car, he hits a detonator, and then all the used cars start blowing.
Why did he
up
take all the time
in.
to do that? That was dumb.
Who's gonna see that?
Yeah,
except for the helicopters that didn't show up because the police don't.
care.
I
guess if I'm like a little kid living in an apartment complex high up, I'm like, ooh,
but
there's
also
a skull.
Yeah, it's like that's a skull. It's a cool looking skull down there.
Yeah, like who actually knows that he even wears a skull on his shirt? And then he fucking gets rid of it.
Yeah.
He takes it off.
He blows it up with knockoff Hayden Christensen.
Knockoff Hayden Christensen. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like essentially breaking down the plot there. Thomas Jane isn't bad. Like you said earlier, he looks really appealing. Dude's jacked. And I think that he kind of like... I enjoy his one-liners. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple scenes that he tries to show emotional torment, and he's like sitting there drinking, like trying to drown his sorrows. Yeah. And I like that when I'm standing back from it, but then when there's the scenes of him just like sitting there like chugging wild turkey, and like it's showing like his flashbacks in his head. Mm-hmm. I don't know, it's not that great. It's not anything to write home about. And his dynamic with the apartment tenants is pretty good. But everything else is bad. Every other interaction with any other character is bad. Pretty much all characters' dialogue is bad.
I will say I don't think Thomas Jane was doing as good a job as you think he was. I think he was second in line for worst performance with John Travolta.
John Travolta is definitely the worst. He's
sure. Like he's
hams
right
it up
him.
in a bad way, dude.
Yeah. John Travolta, I remember you told me that it was John Travolta, so I knew it was John Travolta, but in this movie, he looks like exactly like this one comedian whose name I cannot remember right now.
Oh, yeah?
I'll show you later if I can figure it out.
Well, John Travolta is pretty funny in this movie. Unintentionally. Yeah, like, I don't want you to think that I'm saying Thomas Jane is good, but there's some good, there's some okay stuff. I love the one-liners. I can't say I don't.
The one-liners are great, but he delivers like all of his lines with the same cadence. He's like, "Why were you willing to die for me? I brought you nothing but trouble."
Yeah. They're both like 2-sentence statements. Yeah. Like he's not allowed to say 3 consecutive sentences.
And then he's like, "Because we're family. I can't leave you behind." He's just like, "Take him to a hospital."
Yeah. I think I've ripped on this enough. Not ripped on it. I've stated all of my qualms with it. And did I already say everything I liked about it? I guess pretty much. It's got a couple good action sequences. Both the hitmen that come to kill him are cool action sequences.
Yeah, the fight with the Russian is definitely the best action sequence.
Well, see, I really
not the best action sequence because the third act is the best action sequence.
I really enjoy the Harry Heck sequence too. So to elaborate on that, he's eating at a diner that Rebecca Romaine's character works at with the other tenants. They're there too, and this drifter comes in and he looks like a knockoff Johnny Cash. He sits down with his guitar case. And I really enjoy when things are executed with no like dialogue, and this whole sequence has little to no dialogue. And he sits down and pops his guitar case. And when he does this, Frank's still sitting there eating, but he reaches behind his back to have his pistol ready. And then whenever the guy pulls out his guitar, he tucks his shirt back down. Yeah. The guy plays a badass song, dude. And then afterwards, he has a little exchange with him. He says, "Do I know you?" And Harry Heck says, "No, but I know
I
you."
know you.
And he tells him he's going to sing the song at his funeral, and then walks out.
Mm-hmm.
And then it shows him later, the next scene, he's like waiting on a bridge to drop, and then he gets rear-ended by Harry Heck, and it's like the world's shortest car chase.
Yeah.
As soon as he gets across the bridge, he wrecks. Harry Heck gets out and pulls a gun on him, and he's the Punisher pulls out the knife, and he says, "You got to be one of the dumbest sons of bitches, bringing a knife to a gunfight." And then he's got like a retractable blade that shoots out and stabs the dude in the neck. And I love that whole sequence. I think that's really good. That's one of the ones I was saying earlier that is cool shit that they injected into this movie, but don't know how to turn it into a good movie.
I love the whole aspect of the Punisher mobile.
Yeah.
His, I love the like pull down makeshift shields he put on all the windows and stuff. That's just like something you don't see people do. Like,
and it's practical.
Yeah.
Like it's realistic.
Yeah. Because like, you watch an action movie and there's a car chase. The cars are just like invincible or they blow up with one bullet. Yeah. Like there's no in between. But like Frank, he counted for people attacking him in his car, and he's got these like blast shields and made out of scrap metal, and I thought that was really cool.
I like how Harry Heck is also driving a cool muscle car. He steals said cool muscle car.
That he takes his car,
and then at the end of the movie, whenever he's standing on the bridge and doing like the cringy monologue, in the background is the car he stole from Harry Heck.
Stolen car.
So Castle is dead. You can call me the Punisher.
Yeah. It like he's like doing even like more harsh vocal stuff than Christian Bale and Batman.
He's almost Christian Bale's Batman.
Yeah, so like all the good stuff in this movie is in the second act and like the very beginning of the third act. This movie, I give it a 5.5 out of 10. If you like The Punisher, if you like action movies that aren't really that good, if you like a 90s straight to video Steven Seagal, Chuck Norris type movie that's just got some goofy killing in it and you don't care about the plot whatsoever, this is the movie for you.
Yeah, I love me a goofy, schlocky superhero movie that you can tell. And it's funny because I can't tell if the movie doesn't take itself seriously or it's taking itself too seriously and failing at it.
I think that's a lot of its flaw.
I can't tell what it's going for.
I don't think it knows either.
Okay. But I don't know. Like, just the goofiness, it made me laugh in a good way. The parts that were goofy, I was still enjoying it because it was funny goofy. Yeah. And the parts that were, like, genuinely cool were genuinely cool. And I like I said, I just love the look of Thomas Jane as the Punisher. I think if you took John Bernthal's performance and you just like soul sucked it into Thomas Jane and his physicality and his look for the role, I think that would be the perfect Punisher.
Well, and see, like that's the other thing. Like, there's not bad actors in this movie. Thomas Jane, John Travolta, Will Patton as Howard Saint's crony, Quentin.
Glass.
Yeah, he's a cool character.
He was good.
And that dude's a good actor.
You're killing me.
Yeah, but that sucked. That did suck.
You're killing me. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, they just weren't given anything
if we couldn't tell.
Yeah, they just weren't given anything to work with. So, what are you landing on with your rating?
A 7. I'm giving it a 7. You know what? No, I won't be ashamed.
You stand by your
I am
7.
standing by my 7 for the 2004 Thomas Jane Punisher movie. I had a good time, and I'm willing to accept that in my heart of hearts. I know it was a bad movie, but it's a bad movie that I really, really liked.
See, I always talk about how, like, especially like with Sam Raimi, I love a movie with goofiness and like bonkers, like tongue-in-cheek style, and this movie has goofiness to it, but it's not tongue-in-cheek in my opinion.
No, I don't.
It doesn't realize it's like unintentional hilariousness.
Yeah, but I still love it. I don't know, man.
What's your rewatchability on this movie?
I'd watch it again. I would.
I think I would too, but for different reasons.
No, I would watch it again just to have a good time.
Like I was saying earlier, like I shout out Jeremy Johns. if I feel like he would agree with me, this is a movie that's way better if you're drunk. Like this is such like a grab some beers with the bros movie.
Well, movies like this are exactly why. Subtle plug here for myself. Sorry.
No shame, bro.
When I finally jump back into making videos for my own channel, what I want to do for movie reviews is I'm going to have a two rating system.
Yeah.
One's going to be a critical rating, like as a movie, and then one's going to be how much fun I had with it. So this movie for on the fun is a 7, and if I were to rate it critically, it'd be like a 3.
Yeah.
But I really had a really good time watching it. I would watch it again for just to have fun and watch a fun movie.
I can totally agree with that.
Stick with my 7.
I can totally agree with that. Like this movie is fun. It's undeniably entertaining. But like whenever you look at it analytically, you can just shoot holes in it all day.
Oh, for sure.
Like the Punisher would shoot holes in someone.
Yeah. Right after framing them for tax fraud.
Yeah, that would have been a good prank. Trickster. Yeah, so anything else you want to say about 2004's The Punisher?
No, I don't have much more to say. One thing I want to touch on. This has nothing to do with the rating or the movie as a whole. I just love that the Fat Tenant's name is Bumpo.
Yeah.
what
kind of name is that?
What kind of a name is you had what was Rebecca Romaine's name? Jane.
Was that her name?
I think it was Jane.
Or are we thinking Jane because I was watching the Thor trailer earlier?
I don't know. I think it might have been Jane. It was a J name. We'll say Jane. Yeah, Jane, Dave, and Bumpo.
Yeah. Like, and we could sit here and probably talk for at least another 5 to 10 minutes just about like random shit that was just so dumb or like not good or like why. You have to like ask why. Ugh, but yeah, I don't have anything else to elaborate.
Yeah.
Did you like this format here a little bit better?
Yeah, I definitely prefer not doing a whole synopsis of the movie start to finish. I do think next time, if we do it like this again, we should maybe do sections.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We can construct. And for anybody listening, holler, let us know what you think, suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
We're open to criticism as well.
Oh, for sure.
So holler at us on the socials. Brett, plug them.
Here we go. This is my one job.
No, it's not.
I'm kidding.
I need you to do all the computer work too.
But no, if you yeah, I'm the IT guy. But no, if you want to follow us on Instagram, that is Reel_Rendezvous_pod. If you want to follow us on Twitter, that is Reel Rendezvous, all one word. And you can check out our YouTube, which is The Reel Rendezvous at youtube.com.
Also, check out Brett's YouTube.
Yeah, if you want to check out my stuff. I only have one video up right now because I'm terrified of failure and a chronic procrastinator. But I'm working on it. That's youtube.com/BreetProckEat. BreetProckEat. PROCKETT. I'm an idiot. Can't even spell my own fake name right.
That's all right. If you asked me to spell like my Twitter handle right now, I'd ruin it. But, well, I guess that's everything. We will be talking to you guys hopefully in just a few days.
Yeah.
Diving into some Star Wars. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been tweaking and retooling my list.
Yeah, I haven't even given it any thought at all. So be ready for me to sound super unprepared.
All right.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for listening. Bye. So awkward.